welcome back to Bar Exam. I'm your host, Allie Rayner, and I'm here with the Bar Exam crew. What's up, Mr. Marcus TV? How you doing?
What's going on?
What's up? And then we also have Mr. Eric G in the building. What's up, Eric?
What's the deal, y'all?
And today, coming before the bar, we have a very special guest. We have a rapper, educator, and father here today with us. Please welcome to the show, Trell Brooks.
Hey, appreciate y'all having me. What's up, everybody?
Hello, hello. Thank you so much for being here and taking time out of your day. So I guess we'll just jump right into it. So we want to know a little bit more about you. We did a little bit of research. So we know that you're in Charlotte, North Carolina,
Yeah.
but tell us a little bit about yourself, and is that where you grew up?
Yeah, so currently in Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm originally from Clayton, North Carolina, Johnston County. But yeah, father, educator, husband, lyricist, artist, basketball coach, just youth leader in my church, just hands-on active, with my community. And the music is something that I've been really been more intentional with as far as tapping into it and using it for what I feel is the right reason, the right purpose, according to how I live my life. But that's what I'm about. I'm about the community. I'm about the youth. I'm about helping people move forward and succeed and persevere and push and inspire and motivate and influence. But I'm just a positive guy, trying to make it like the next man, taking care of my family, taking care of my community.
Awesome. So what made you want to start writing in the first place? So we heard like you might have started writing around high school and then it evolved over into college. So what made you pick up the pen in the first place?
Yeah, it was definitely high school. I want to say it was might have been like a relationship that I was in, and I had heard about people having these options to vent and to get things off, whether it be exercise or whether it be talking to somebody, music, writing. And so for me, I picked up the pen and I grabbed the empty notebook and started jotting down how I was feeling. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to my mother. She's an avid reader. In our house, in my old house, she had a huge library, so I knew that she would take a liking, or she would at least be interested in what I had to write, because I wasn't just putting feelings down or just writing thoughts down, but I was intentionally putting it in a creative way. And so after a while, I let her read some of my stuff, and I kind of had her approval because of what just her reaction to it. It had me thinking like, oh, okay, maybe I should just keep doing this. One, it was helping me feel better, and then there may be something here for it, because I was into sports as well, but I feel like I just needed something else. I was getting older, I was experiencing more things, experiencing more life, and so I wanted to tap into other things that could potentially help me with my mental health. And so the writing stuck, and that led me to get into college. I wasn't a big performer, so all I did was write. All I did was write and read, and I joined the NAACP chapter at my college, and they had this showcase, and they were like, "Yo, we need performers, rappers, singers, poets. Anybody do poetry? Anybody got a song or anything?" And I was like, "I mean, I write." And it was like, "Cool, you got anything?" And luckily enough, I had one poem that I had finished not too long ago, and I read it for him, and I had everybody's approval about, "Yo, you gotta spit that. We need that. We need that." And so that was my very first performance. And from there on, I gained, I want to say, a following, but people took interest into just me as a writer and as a poet. And so I joined the community of poets in college, where I would sit in on workshops, be a part of slam teams, go to different colleges and different cities to really just soak up game, get knowledge, meet other people who were at that time vets to me in that field. And so just really learning the game and learning the intricacies, the ins and outs, and just developing my own style as a writer. And one day we're at the round table, there's music playing, and some of my friends are like, "Yo, you doing your thing with the spoken word poetry and writing and thing. I'm sure you could rap." And at that time, like I said, wasn't a big performer. I still got nervous every time I would do a poem, and I was like, "Nah, I don't see myself doing that. That ain't me." But they really put that battery in my back and gave me the push that I needed to at least try it. And from there on out, I mean, I just been rapping ever since.
That's awesome. I love that you were just like thrown into the fire and you were
Yeah,
just like, I'm gonna figure it out.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And then so
But
how did that evolve like from poetry into actually, putting music behind it?
um, it was a bit of a transition. But it wasn't too hard for me because what I told somebody is that with poetry, you kind of have this free range in a sense. It's an open field, and you can kind of control the pace in a sense, especially with spoken word. You have more room to put emphasis on certain points and get certain things across and line certain things up. But with the music, with the beat, it was like a gate. You had like parameters, and so it was almost like Tetris in a sense, like puzzle piecing these things together to where if you stand back, it still looks dope or sounds dope. So I was always into style. I was always into delivery, and just wordplay. But that was the transition: was how can I go from being so free and so open without having a beat or a measure or a bar to fit everything into, to like working on this extended skill set of rapping. Like I could rap and I can rhyme if I'm just doing spoken word poetry with no beat. But now like you have these parameters, so you can't really do too much that will put you off beat or sound kind of off or whack or whatever as you would in spoken word without the beat. So that was the most challenging part, but I think it was a good transition for me because all it did was add it to my skill set of writing and being able to deliver what was going on in my mind.
Got it. So you just dropped a new song called Snap,
Yeah,
and we heard that you performed it live at the Pulse Experience. So how was that getting on stage to perform that live?
yeah, that was truly an experience. That venue is huge, and I don't get the chance to perform as much as I would like, but to be able to have that planned in advance and to release my song and to kind of have that set up, it was like I said, it was an amazing experience. Just the journey going into it, working with um, the graphic designer for the cover art, the producers and the engineers, and even the people who put on the Post Experience, the festival in Charlotte. That it was something that I'll never forget. Um, and it was the first festival of that festival in Charlotte. So, I'm a part of that history as the first post festival in Charlotte. And so they're already working on next year's and thinking for plans of what they're going to do for that. But it was very rewarding. Outside of just performing it, I think the most rewarding aspect of it to me was the interactions and the conversations that I had with people after the performance. Just those that kind of recognize the type of time that I was on or that I am on, and just the appreciation and the acknowledgement that I got from those individuals, people that I already knew, people that were just complete strangers. It just kind of serves as confirmation and affirmation that what I'm doing with my music is going to reach who it needs to reach, and that I'm on the right path.
Right. So I gotta break down the lyrics just a little bit because we
Sure.
always love to do that on bar exam, right? So I love the line "like a button on Sherman Clump." I'm about to go snap. Like I love a Nutty Professor line every single time. So I love that you threw that in there. But we saw that some people, what stood out to them was the line "Hallelujah, Hallelujah, standing still, watching how God maneuvers." So is that like an actual reference to a biblical line? Like some people were thinking it was Exodus chapter 14, verse 13. It was
Yeah.
basically about like, watching like the Lord fight for you and all you need to do is be still. Like, is that a reach or is that true?
No, I would say it's true, but I'm not gonna lie. When I first wrote that line, I didn't go to Exodus. I wasn't thinking of Exodus to when I wrote it. So, but in a sense of like Hallelujah, Hallelujah, standing still, watching how God maneuvers, like that really came from the spirit. That came from the heart because I take a lot of time to reflect on like all that he's done in my life, my family's life, and just how good he really is, despite however I may personally feel about a situation or a time period. Like, he's kept me, he's kept my family, he's sustained me, he's provided me with gifts and talents and characteristics that, you know, when I use them in the correct manner, ultimately gives him the glory, but also other people benefit from. And so that's really what it was. It's just being reflective of how of God's greatness and His goodness, and just understanding that, like, if I could just sit and be still and just think on the history of God and what He's brought me through and what I've experienced through Him, and just being in tune and tapped in with Him. Um, no matter what no matter what I'm going through on this earth, like the spirit alone, knowing that He's with me and He's guiding me and He's strengthening me and sustaining me, it just gives me joy, gives me peace, gives me reassurance. And so that's really where that came from. It's more of a reflective standpoint.
Got you. Is your like did your love for God and like your connection with him, did that come from like your household, or was that just something you found on your own?
Now, I grew up in the church. Yeah, my family had us. I was the kid in the choir. I learned how to play the drums in church. Uh, Vacation Bible school, like everything, church leagues, basketball, kickball games, like I did it all. But I think just getting older and certain things weighing on you. Like I said, I'm a husband, I'm a father. I do so many things in my community and my household that I knew that there was something, not something. I knew that the spirit was tugging at me. I knew that God was calling me to do more with my life, as far as um not wasting any potential, right? Not just letting time go by, not just going through the motions, not being down on yourself and beating yourself up because of X, Y, and Z. Like, we're supposed to be living in abundance, and that's not always referring to materialistic things. Is referring to, like, the fruits of the spirit, being loving, being kind, the goodness, the patience, the gentleness, everything that comes with it, joy, peace. And so I started to really dive more into my Bible. I can't tell you that I know all the verses. I can't tell you that I'm this theologian and I know it front to back, but I'm on my journey, and I'm growing and I'm progressing. And I can also attest to what He's done for me and my family, and just live my life for Him because of that. Because it today could have been different. It's just a blessing that I'm able to be on this podcast and this interview with you all. So I mean, I look at things in a different light, um, than before. Like I said, I grew up in church. I was active in church, um, but now at this point in my life, it's like it's not even just church, but it's just my relationship with God has strengthened. And I think, before, I can honestly say that before, I knew God, I knew of Him, I knew of some scriptures, but what I felt like I was lacking was just a stronger, more a deeper connection with Him.
Got you.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't want to hog the entire interview. So, Eric, do you have any questions?
Yeah, yeah, I definitely got a couple of questions. I think you kind of already spoke on it a little bit in just the last statement that you said, but even for an artist like you, when you started writing, when there was no music behind it, when you were just figuring out like the early pen game and
Yeah.
really honing in on that skill, was the topic of what you were writing about, did it always have a Christianity, like, was that the center of contention with a lot of what you were writing, or did that have to kind of evolve when you also figured out that you wanted to make music with it too?
Now, excellent question, and I'll say no, um, because when I first started, it was like I I was doing it for me, right? I recognized, oh, I'm kind of skilled at this, or I can do this a little bit, but I didn't. God wasn't in the forefront like that. He wasn't at the center like that. It was more so, some of the I didn't have. Um, I wasn't using Him as a reference. I didn't have reverence, when it came to Him, because of some of the things that I was talking about. It was really Trail centered. It wasn't Jesus centered. And so I think just living life, over the last decade and having certain life experiences, it brought me closer to God, and it brought me closer to having a true understanding and passion for, um, not doing things for myself because it's not fulfilling anymore, just to my soul, to my spirit. It's not. I rather do things that people can benefit from, and that the Lord can smile at and be grateful at. Um, and so when I first started writing, I was in high school and college, so it was about girls. It was about um, just trying to prove and be the best that I could be when it came to this, because I saw it as a competition thing at times too. So, and then a lot of times, like, I've always worked with the youth, so there, of course, there'll be poems that I wrote about, what I would see in the community as I'm working with these kids, and the fatherless child, and the drug scene that that I wasn't a part of, but I got to experience through other kids that I was working with. So I always was kind of writing about what I was experiencing, or what I was experiencing through the eyes of and the lives of other people. But it wasn't. I can't say that I always had like that Christ-centered piece when it came to the writing. It was more so of, hey, look what I did. Look what I did. Now it's like, yo, look what he did. Look what he did.
Right. So then it kind of comes full circle, because then you get to drop a song like Snap, and it's kind of like everything that you were like working towards already. It's like comes full circle now, because now you get to actually perform it in front of people. What was the decision behind performing that one live over the couple of other joints that you got out? Because you got a couple other ones out. You got a track called Shiesty. You got Checks. Like you are already building up a nice little resume for yourself. So what was the decision for you to be like, all right, Snap is going to be the one that we're going to go with?
It's interesting. Because of the space that I'm in. And I'm gonna be honest with you, we just removed most of those songs off of the streaming platforms, because of me being in a more spiritual space, and me wanting to do things with more intention. Um, those other songs, some of those other songs that you mentioned, some of the other songs out there, um, I have explicit lyrics in there. And it's in somebody asked me, why don't you keep them up? Like, it would show the progression, because being a Christian or being a follower of Christ is not about perfection, but progression. But where I'm at now, I don't, my lyrics are cleaned up, but the message is still coming through. And so I didn't want to perform anything but whatever I was, the song that represented the space that I was currently in. It was just like that first line, hallelujah, hallelujah, standing still, watching how I got maneuvers. Um, I, I wanted to glorify God. I wanted to still talk about me being a father, and making money, and being a lyricist, and just having displaying that skill set. But it was more so wherever I was, wherever I am, which is currently right now, focused on God, focused on my mission. That song right now is the one that represents that the most, and that's just the growth, and the spiritual maturity that's taking place within my life.
No, I definitely rock with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, Marcus.
Marcus, yeah, you can go ahead, man. I know you got some funny ones.
No, 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 no. You're not even gonna do that to me on this good on this good Sunday. Well, peace,
Yeah,
my
right.
brother. You have a more respectful personality of authenticity that we always can figure out also, like, who's you know about what they rapping about, who's interpreting what they rapping about, who had, there's always something up under the surface. Who is this, like, more of a gimmick? Who is this just more of, this is kind of what, like, the wave I'm going in because it's less traffic in this wave. And, so I would ask you, like, because you have such a Christian background, do you ever feel like the church was holding you back creatively, like not telling you what you could and couldn't say, but just like, that's not what I want to do?
Nah, I never felt like that. If anything, I honestly felt like God had been calling me to give him more of the glory and put him more of the center of my life within my art for a very long time. But because I live in the world, and for so long I tried to be like the world or of the world, that I just felt a spiritual clash. Like I would write something, I would spit it, perform it, and others may think it was dope, but deep down on the inside, it would kind of be tearing me up a little bit. And but a lot of times I'd be writing for like the world's approval rather than to edify and to glorify God. And you know, you're young, you found something that you're good at, you're a part of a couple organizations, people giving you your flowers and hyping you up and you feeling yourself, but like it wasn't satisfying after a while. And I can honestly say, like, being in this space, I got a bunch of new stuff that I've been writing. Even some of the freestyles I'm putting out on the gram now, like I know for a fact that it feels good to put this stuff out. And it feels like, I don't know, man. It's hard to explain. Like once you like feel it and you understand, it's like you just know it. It's like you don't want to leave that space. Like nothing feels better to me than using what God has given me to give back to His people and ultimately give back to Him, because that's what my gift was truly for.
Okay. Well, you have the new single Snap. It has like people talking man to man. Has
Yeah.
there been a time in your life or your career where you almost snapped and you just was like, you know what, forget it all right now. Like I'm about to have these people talking about me on a bar stool, remembering the greatest hits of my life.
um Now you say snap like in a bad way? Like you mean snap like what you
Yeah,
mean?
there is no. We're not talking about. There's no snapped in the Jesus way. Yeah, you. That would just be a blessing. You
Yeah, I think
like
yeah,
Jesus really did his thing on that one, boy. I don't know how you got me out of that. Oh, yeah,
yeah,
that's a blessing.
I think yeah, for sure. Like I'm human, right? He said man to man, I'm human. I'll have my moments. Um yeah, like people like my students, people at the job, my own kids. I'm a married man who I love my wife dearly, but there was a time period where we were at odds and we were clash, and it was a growing stage for us as well. And so I don't think I think snap looks different to different people, but for me, I'm very reserved. And so the times that I've snapped on my children where I just blanked or I yelled or I'm fussing them out or I'm talking to my wife crazy. Like that's my type of snap, because I don't even maneuver like that. I don't even act like that. But there's been times where the situation was so heated or so much chaos was going on at the moment that instead of just removing myself or just taking control of the situation, I chose to go the other way. And so, being reflective, I understand that never really solved anything. Um, and I had to learn that there's other ways and there's healthier ways to deal with it. And I had, and in order for me to snap, because all that is energy. It's just energy that has to go somewhere. And so as the years went by, I figured out like there's times where I'm getting disturbed, frustrated. These people are making me mad, or they're getting on my nerves. Or I feel like I just want to blank or cuss somebody out. I choose different routes to snap. Whether that be back in the gym now, just working out more, using my craft, you know what I'm saying, writing, like getting it out. And usually it becomes something fire, but I try to find the healthiest ways to snap versus just snapping on the people or the situation that's around me, because then it's gonna look like the angry black man who don't know how to control himself. you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess this is like an interesting follow up because with all of the biblical references that you talk about, and we're talking about people on the outside looking in, not the people that know you. So like
Yeah.
these are people who are going to Google you, who are going to see you from our platform, who aren't in Charlotte, who don't know anything about you other than the Google search.
Yeah.
You know, with all of your references in your music, do you ever feel or people like you're playing preacher, or that being a shiesty storyteller, or do you ever like how do you combat that, or do you feel that way?
Nah, I don't. Like I said before, like I really don't think too much about those type of opinions. Because like I said, if If I know I'm staying true within in my mission and what I'm supposed to be doing as an artist and writing, then whoever's going to hit and whoever's going to touch is going to do just that, and I'm fine with that. But for the people who feel like I'm playing preach, I can't. I'm not playing preach. I already said I don't. I don't know the Bible as well as other people. Like I know certain verses that really stand out and stick to me, and it's kind of helped me through times. But I can't sit here, and I'll never sit here or go anywhere and try to act like that, because that's, that's almost like false teaching and false preaching in a sense, and there's something in the Bible about that. So I'm, like I said, I'm still on a journey. I'm still growing. I want to be as transparent and honest with this as possible, because there's other people who do listen to this type of music. There's other people who resonate with my lifestyle, and when they hear certain things, they're going to know that they're not the only one. They're going to know that they don't have to feel ashamed about their journey within Christ and growing with him, and growing within themselves. And so, I've never felt like that. I never felt like that. My whole thing is learn, apply, adapt. Whatever you're learning, which we all do naturally, whether it's by seeing, hearing, just being exposed to things, you take that in. You apply it, right? So whatever it is in your life, I'm an educator, so I use that a lot with my students. You apply it to whatever situation that comes next, or whatever situation you're in, and then you adapt, meaning change or grow. And it's always for the better. We never want to move backwards. So that's what I'm pushing. I can't sit up here and be like, if people feel like I'm fake preaching or having being shiesty with it, I think that's something more so with them than it is with me. But as long as I'm keeping God first, I'm gonna continue to be authentic and true to me, and true to this journey that I'm on.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Well, you know, I wish you the very best
I
because
appreciate
the music resonates. Like I said, it comes across on a plane where it's very authentic, and hearing you speak and hearing you talk and hearing it, kind of like behind the music of it, you understand the path and the journey that you're taking, and so
yeah.
much much greetings, blessings, and abundance. I hope that you're on this next wave and we caught you first.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that. And shout out to y'all for doing what y'all doing, man, for having somebody like me up here. It's a blessing in itself.
Yeah, absolutely. But before you go, I gotta ask. So you
Yeah.
were talking about, having students. So how is that? Like, do you like before? Did you used to worry about them listening to your music? Like, is that also why you decided to go a different route?
Yeah, great question. That's funny. That shows you I used to be in a different space. Like I used to teach, and weekends be in the studio and doing my own thing or whatever. And I didn't have them in mind, which is crazy, right? Like I love the youth, I love working with the students, but like I used to have this battle of like, when I used to talk to my manager, like, yo, you trying to show that you're an educator, or you trying to show that you're a rapper? Because it was at one point you would look at my socials and it was very confusing. And I say, you know what? I don't need it to be like, this is my life. I don't need it to be this and then that's that. Like everything, like when you see me with the family, like I'm a family man. You see in the classroom, I'm a teacher. You see me getting busy on the microphone and like killing and spitting, like I'm an artist. Like I want to show it all. And so like I said, I had to come down to a point where I had to really plan out um my intentionality. Like what is it that I'm trying to do? Because now it just sounds like I'm rapping just to show that I can rap, or I'm trying to hide the fact, because these kids they're not stupid. No matter what the grades are showing, they're not stupid. They know how to operate the internet. They know how to get on. They know how to look you up. They're doing it already. Their parents are doing it. And so I'm very transparent with them as well. And a lot of the stuff that I rap for them. You know what I'm saying? I don't do it for free. I was like, you got to show me some effort in the classroom. You got to give me a good grade or something. And so like we build that community and that relationship to where they do see it. And I tell them I'm not hiding. Like they know it's up there. They know what I'm pushing. They know what I'm about. But if anything, I see that they're proud of it. Because before I used to try to not even used to, but like I just wasn't mindful of it. I just wasn't mindful of it until I sat down and said, you know what? I wear too many hats. I'm my wife. I know I'm gonna lead her and influence her. My children, I got 4 and 1 on the way. Like I'm forever influencing them and teaching them. My students, it's like 50 of them. I teach 2 classes of like 25 students. So like a lot of them got computers and tablets and cell phones. So that's all they do is stay online. And a lot of these students came into the year knowing that their teacher like they think I'm famous. I tell them, like, I said, no, like some of y'all got more subscribers than me. Like it's they view me in a different light. And so I said in a post I put on the other day, it's like, I with that type of leadership, with that type of influence, you have to be mindful. For me, you have to be mindful, and for anybody else as well, you have to be mindful. And so that was one of the driving forces of me um, go. I guess you could say going a different route, but for me, it was just clearing it up, clearing it up. That's all it was just clearing it up, because I can sit back and be a parent knowing my kid is in the class and his teacher is a rapper or a singer or whatever, and I go look up the music and the gram and the TikToks, and if it's something that's kind of like disturbing, as a parent, I might be like, ooh, what's going on in the classroom? So I had all of that play in my mind. But like I said, I love the journey that I'm on, and I'm glad that I'm in this space. I have more clarity now within this, and so before it was just kind of like doing it just to say I was an artist, doing it just to be doing it, to have stuff out there. But now, like, it's truly mission driven, and I think the students, it's reflective in my classroom. They can really see that and they can really feel it.
So I got a follow up to what you just said, because you kind of walked into it,
Okay.
and in a way that, so you come across a TikTok student is doing what he's doing on the TikTok, and as a parent,
Yeah.
as an educator, you're appalled, you're
Yeah.
disgusted, you're the questions, the turn, everything is just in you, is like, what's going, it's all of that, right?
Yeah.
But the artist in you, like, this can go.
Yeah.
This can go. Like,
Yeah.
this is my ticket out. This is what I've been waiting for. This is what I prayed for. This is all the art. Like this is left and the right. Talking, but everything that we spoke about before is telling you no. But in the artist in you, in this day, it has the dance. It has the beat. It's the next wave. It's out of here.
Yeah.
What do you do?
I pray. I pray. I pray. For real, for real. I pray. But then again, it has to be like, what's the mission? What's the message? What's the big picture behind this? What's like, I have to dive deep, because that's the type of person I am. Like, is this the world saying yes, or is this God saying yes? And me having the spiritual clarity, that more spiritual clarity now than before, I'm gonna lean in more to what God is saying. If it's a wait, be patient, or if this is an absolute no, like, I have to be obedient, because what I don't want to, the one thing I don't want to do is lean into my own understanding and follow my own heart, which can be deceptive and deceitful, and think this can go, and it hurt my family in the end, or it cost me, my livelihood, or just in whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many things that could or could not happen, but I can't compromise my spirit for anything. Basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
I respect that.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. We'll stand up type of dude. I love that. So how do you balance being a rapper and a father and an educator? Like, where do you find the time?
Yeah. My favorite question. um Everybody is involved in everything, really, because it you don't have time, right? You don't have the time that you would like, as somebody in my position. Because time with my wife is so pivotal and essential and important. Pouring into my kids and raising them, obviously that goes without saying. Doing my job as an educator, right? I work for the state, so I gotta teach these kids. We gotta get these test scores up, So is but and then for me being an artist, like, this is something that I want to do, but it's I struggled with that before, and I would sacrifice time with wifey. I would sacrifice time with kids. I would um at times put music and other things before them, when I shouldn't have. Which came back to bite me in the end, in the long run, when times came up, like, but I learned from those mistakes. I learned from those decisions, and I had to have a conversation with my team. It was like, we're just involve everybody in everything. And so when I'm in the garage recording or working on something, my kids they love it. They love the experience. They sing my songs. My son's got a playlist with my songs up there for his football team. Like they sit in the studio. They know when I'm about to press record, they get quiet. Um, some of them have been on the songs, like me and wifey. Like my wife put together my outfit for my post festival. Like I'm not into like fashion and everything, but she is. She's into the aesthetics and the looks, and I'm into the message and the delivery and like, you know, getting what I need to get to the people. And so it's before it wasn't like that. And so I felt it's so much better that way is when my students are involved and they know that they are a part of my life as it pertains to being an artist and an educator. My children, my family, my wife, they're a part of it because they know that this is something that daddy does. It's something that, you know, hubby does or whatever. And this is important. And, you know, I've gotten paid from this. I'm able to do, you know, take care of a couple of bills from this from time to time. Like, so it goes beyond past the money, but it's just one of those things where they know, this is very important to me, you know, like almost up, really up there with after God and air, like water and food. Like I need to be writing every day. I need to be recording every week. I need to be listening to new beats, coming up with new concepts and writing on different perspective. Like I need it, you know, so they recognize that. It wasn't always like that, but it took communication, it took planning, and it took me really changing some of the things that I was doing as far as trying to separate and keep everything divided. But like, no, this is my life. I'm gonna always be a father. I'm gonna always be, you know, married to my wife and lead her. I'm gonna always be teaching, whether it's students, whether it's my kids, whether it's the basketball team that I coach, like whether it's just me being in the community and the youth group that I work with at church. I'm always going to be leading and influencing. And so why do I feel like I need to separate everything? Like this, all of this is a part of my life. So it's, you know, that's what makes it easy. So I don't have the time to write like I want to. That's fine because I know that I'm still doing what I'm supposed to do, and that when I get to it, it's gonna be better. Right? I don't put this music over God. I don't put this music over my family, and I don't spend time trying to write and work on rhymes while my students are taking the test or doing assignments. No, whatever I am tasked with, whatever my priority is at that moment, I focus on that because God gave it to me and He put me in this place, in this position for a reason. I'm going to fulfill that particular ministry until that time is done and it's up, and I have to tend to something else the way I need to. And so it took me a minute to get there, but you know, I'm there, and it's not perfect. You know, you got 4 kids and a wife. Your schedules are crazy. My kids are active; they're into sports and dance and cheer, and so, you know, you realize how long or how far 5 minutes can take you. How 2 minutes, because I can write a good 16 in 5 minutes if I needed to. If I know I ain't gonna have the time tonight to do it when I get back home. So I look at time differently. I invite everybody in, and I really make the most of the time that I have, even if it is 10 minutes.
I like that.
Yeah.
So now that everything is basically settling into place for you, like after you had a successful performance at the Pulse experience, like now that it feels like everything is like leveling out as far as just the balance between writing, between making music, between being an educator, between being a father and a husband, like all those things that you mentioned.
Yeah.
Now that it feels like all that is kind of settling into place, what do you kind of want out of your future, out of merging all those worlds together?
Oh, really just to bring people to Christ, you know, and not in a way where it's like I'm forcing this on you, but it's just living my life in a way that people can't help but to be attracted to, like what gets him going like this. Why does he have so much light within him? What is it? Like I want people to come closer to figure out and find out that it ain't nothing but the goodness of the Lord, man, and you know, to just be able to influence. And um I I'm not going to be the one to convert people or to um get people to change, like I said, like forcing them to, like they're going to do that on their own. But I want to make sure that I, you know, I'm doing things in order according to how God has blessed me in my life. And so through the music, through writing, through merch, through visuals, through songs. That's what the goal is it's really simple for me. Like whoever this is going to reach, I want them to know that the there's no journey like yours. That God is with you, God is covering you and protecting you, and that as much as humans and our flesh changes and alters, the Word of God doesn't. And one thing that people really thrive on is consistency. And sometimes we're not consistent with ourselves, but the Word of God and the Spirit of God is forever consistent. And so that's just kind of what I'm pushing along with the learn, apply, adapt movement. Just having gaining more wisdom and applying that wisdom to your life, so that we can live in abundance and be better people for each other and for ourselves. That's really it, man.
I love that. I love that you always have like a positive message behind your work. So where can people find you on socials, and where can they stream you?
Yeah, Trell Brooks on all platforms for socials, and all streaming platforms as well as for the music. Like I said, Snap is out. I'm working on getting a visual done for that for towards the end of this month. So I'm about this week, by the end of this week, working on that, and also my project, the Book of Trail. We don't have a date for that yet, but it'll be some songs up there that covers some different topics. Obviously, having a Jesus centered focus, but also just being realistic as well, because it the things that I talk about, the things that I'm rapping about now, it's not preachy, right? It's not preaching. I could easily say that, but when you hear it, you understand that, like, oh wow, I definitely know what Brett's talking about, because we all have flaws, we all have sinned, we all fallen short, we all gonna have our struggles. Um, but there is light at the end of that tunnel. There is grace that is sufficient, even though we don't deserve it. And there's a light that's within everybody, and it's not so much of stepping into it, but it's more so just turning it up a little bit.
I feel that. Well, thank you so much, Trell, for being here. Um, I can't wait to see your project. I can't wait to listen, honestly. So we'll definitely be on the lookout for that. But
Thank
all
you.
right, everybody, this is Bar Exam. We will see you guys on the next one. Make sure that you guys check us out every single Monday on the Ethos Media Network YouTube page. And this is Bar Exam. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.